Have you ever paused to ask, in all your years of schooling, did anyone truly teach you how to think? Not memorize, not recite for exams, but think rightly, independently, deeply, and clearly. You were taught math, writing, historical facts. You were tested with multiple choice, graded with numbers, rewarded for obedience, but no one showed you how to question, challenge, or face your emotions without being swept away. You grew up with a head full of information, but a mind unsure how to wield it. You're vulnerable to others' words, swayed by crowds, lost in big decisions, because no one taught you to think with purpose. Stoics are different. They don't chase what others deem right. They don't react on impulse. They learn to separate emotions from actions, observe themselves, and choose based on reason, not fear or desire. And that's something you can learn. No curriculum, no classroom, just a commitment to yourself. From today, you'll think and live as a truly free person. If you seek a clearer path in thinking and want to forge a mind as resilient as the ancient Stoic philosophers, hit the subscribe button. The journey starts now, and it begins with how you think. Number 1, they taught you what to think, not how to think. From childhood, you were taught to memorize multiplication tables, city names, grammar rules, geometry solutions. You were told to learn by rote, match answers perfectly, obey teachers, sit still, and never talk back. For years, you were judged on your ability to recall, comply, and repeat what others taught. But did anyone teach you to question an idea? Did they give you space to fail, experiment, or see problems from different angles? Rarely, if ever. This left a gaping hole in your awareness. You know many things, but lack the clarity to think deeply about anything. You became a product of a system designed to create good citizens, not purposeful individuals. You learned to say, do, and live correctly, but were never asked what's right and why. You were told to work hard for success, be kind to be liked, obey to avoid trouble. Yet no one taught you to define what matters to you, choose values to live by, or challenge a viewpoint while staying calm and respectful. You know what to do, but not why. So you enter life like a sophisticated machine, full of data but lacking independent processing. Stoic philosophy sees this clearly. Epictetus, once a slave, said, "It's not what happens that distresses you, but how you think about it." Without thinking skills, you live by emotions and reflexes. Insulted, you rage. Rejected, you feel worthless. Failing, you collapse. When someone says you're not enough, you believe it, because you never learned to scrutinize your thoughts. You let others' opinions become your truth, and you call that life. Stoics don't live this way. They don't ask, what do others think of me? But what do I think of myself? They don't react to circumstances. They pause, observe, analyze, and respond with reason. Emotions don't obscure truth. Society's noise doesn't drown their inner voice. They don't live for applause, but for dignity. All this stems from one foundation: right thinking. Right thinking isn't cold, computer-like logic. It's distinguishing fact from interpretation, impulse from intention. It's asking, where's this from? What's my evidence? Is there another perspective? Most crucially, it's checking your own thoughts, not to doubt yourself, but to avoid self-deception. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it doesn't make you better, discard it. But you only know what improves you if you can think, analyze, and choose wisely." We live in an era where everyone has opinions, but few have clear thinking. They share unverified posts, believe grand claims for their emotional pull, let feelings drive actions, then blame circumstances. Worse, they think this is human nature. Stoicism disagrees. It believes you can learn to think. You weren't born with right thinking. but you can forge it daily through every choice and question you dare to ask. Here's the critical truth. If you don't learn to think, others will think for you. They'll sell you fears, false needs, idealized images. They'll make you chase what you don't want, leaving you empty. They'll convince you need approval when what you need is self-respect. The world doesn't need more obedient followers. It needs thinkers who stand firm in crowds, choose right despite difficulty, and act from reason, not pressure. The best part? You can start today. No permission or certificate required. Just one question. Am I thinking this because it's true or because I was taught to? Each honest pause to reflect reclaims your life's control. Persist long enough, and you'll become unshakable, unswayed, ungoverned. If this stirs the part of you that feels programmed, yearning for clarity, comment, "I will think for myself." To keep learning to think clearer, live truer, and grow stronger as a modern Stoic, subscribe. Each day you'll get a reminder, not to think like me, but to think more clearly for yourself. Number 2, separate your emotions and actions. Here's a simple but tough truth. You are not your emotions, yet most of us live as if we are. When angry, you yell. When hurt, you withdraw. When anxious, you avoid. When wronged, you react like the world's against you. That's reflex, and living by reflex surrenders your core power, self-mastery. Stoicism doesn't demand you become emotionless. It doesn't ask you to never feel sad, angry, or disappointed. Instead, it teaches you to separate emotions from actions. Emotions come, let them. Emotions go, let them. But don't act until you're ready to choose a reasoned response. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who could have lashed out at will, wrote, "If you can endure it, don't complain. If you can't, do something." Complaining is pointless. He's highlighting the divide between feeling and reacting. Emotions arise naturally. No one fully controls them. But your actions define who you are. Those ruled by emotions sway with every minor shift. A word throws them off balance. A glance makes them shrink. A rejection crushes them. They're like a rudderless boat, drifting with each wave of feeling. Stoics aren't like that. They master their actions, making them stronger than any emotion. Right thinking doesn't deny emotions. It welcomes them as signals, not commands. Sadness might show an unmet need. Anger could signal a boundary violation. Anxiety may point to a lack of clarity, but no emotion tells you what to do. It only flags something's happening inside. Your job as a rational being is to create space between what you feel and what you do. You can say, "I'm furious right now," without shouting or attacking. You can feel confused without fleeing. You can be hurt yet act with calm integrity. Modern society often misreads this. It glorifies living true to your emotions, as if they're the ultimate truth. But emotions are fleeting, swayed by weather, sleep, blood sugar, a social media comment, or a childhood memory. They're unstable. If you let them drive your actions, your life will be too. Stoics step back from the tide. They don't suppress emotions, they observe them, let them pass, and refuse to be swept away. A key skill in mastering emotions is building the pause. When triggered, a jab to your pride, a rejection that stings, an act that offends. Stop. Don't respond instantly. Breathe deeply. Ask, where is this emotion from? Is it inflating the situation? Will I regret acting now? That pause activates clear thinking. You're no longer a puppet of your feelings, you hold the reins. This takes practice. It's not easy. At first, you'll notice emotions after acting impulsively, then regret it. Don't quit. Start by recognizing, then delay reacting. Next, choose your response. Eventually, you'll stand in rage yet stay lucid. That's freedom. Not external, but freedom from your own impulses. Stoics aren't cold. They feel deeply but don't drown. They have emotions, anger, love, sadness, disappointment, but don't lose themselves in them. This lets them stand firm when others falter, decide wisely when others spiral. Not because they're numb, but because they've trained to feel without losing reason. If you've acted on emotions and paid a price, saying something you regret, doing something shameful, you're not alone. To break that cycle, start now. Each pause builds a brick in your mental fortress. If this feels vital to your life right now, comment, I choose to act from reason, to keep learning to stay steady amid intense emotions, like this video as a commitment. Subscribe. The journey to control your life starts with controlling your actions. And that only happens by separating emotions from what you do. Number 3, distinguish between what is within your control and what is beyond your control. Of all Stoic teachings, one principle stands out, simple yet often overlooked, but transformative when lived. Distinguish between what you can control and what you cannot. It sounds obvious, but pause and ask, how much of your daily stress, anxiety, and frustration comes from things you can't change? You're angry about bad weather, disappointed someone doesn't value you, anxious about the future, haunted by the past, irritated when others don't think like you. These are beyond your control, yet you let them dictate your mood, actions, and energy. Epictetus said, "We are not disturbed by events, but by our thoughts about them." Events may be unfavorable, but only when you treat them as disasters do they become disasters in your mind. Stoics train to separate clearly. What can I influence and what must I let be? Within your control, your actions, choices, attitude, effort, words, act fully, responsibly, rationally. Beyond it, others' thoughts, outcomes, weather, societal events, rumors, learn to let go. Not out of weakness, but wisdom. Let go to focus your energy where it counts. This isn't surrender, it's high-level thinking. Take a simple example. You prepare thoroughly for a job interview. Dress sharply, arrive on time, answer confidently. But you're not selected. Without this distinction, you'd torment yourself, questioning your mistakes or feeling wronged. With Stoic thinking, you see, you controlled your preparation, presence, and attitude. You didn't control the panel's decision, competitors, or unknown criteria. Instead of suffering, you say, I did my part. The rest isn't my responsibility. The same applies to relationships. You can't control how much someone loves or understands you, or how they react when you live authentically. But you can control how you love, express yourself, and set boundaries. You don't need to control others to feel secure, just yourself to feel free. That's the mark of a clear thinker, unshaken by what's out of reach. The challenge is that what's beyond control often feels most urgent. You want approval, perfect plans, recognition, good outcomes. But turning desires into obsessions breeds chronic anxiety. You exhaust yourself trying to change the unchangeable. Instead, return to what you truly command, your attitude and choices. Marcus Aurelius, leading an empire through crisis, wrote, "You have power over your mind. No one can take it unless you allow it." That's real strength, not controlling the world, but yourself in any circumstance. Mastering this boundary makes you unswayed. Bad news doesn't panic you. Ingratitude doesn't enrage you. Failure doesn't break you. Not because you're indifferent, but because you focus on what matters and release the rest. This isn't lofty philosophy, it's a daily tool. When you feel unsettled, ask, is this within or beyond my control? If within, act. If beyond, let go. Repeat this enough, and your mind becomes clearer, lighter, more agile. You react less, act more. Life stops feeling like an endless battle and becomes a series of deliberate choices. You don't need grand events to practice. Start small. Someone interrupts you, a plan cancels, a text goes unanswered. Instead of anger, pause and ask, can I control this? If not, can I choose calm? You'll be amazed how you strengthen, not by winning over others, but by fighting the right battles. If you burned out trying to control everything or felt overwhelmed by things beyond your reach, comment, I choose calm. Clear thinking doesn't demand you master all. It asks you to know what's yours and what isn't. To learn to live at peace in an uncertain world, subscribe. Each day, I'll share mental tools to build inner strength and stand firm against whatever comes. Number 4, set internal goals instead of external ones. From childhood, you were taught that success requires goals, specific ones. Study hard to get into college. Graduate to land a job. Work to earn money. Earn money for respect. Then buy a house, get promoted, marry, have kids, build wealth. These are clear, concrete, and external. That's the trap. Society convinces you your worth is measured by what you achieve. Things others can see, judge, applaud. But Stoicism says the opposite. Don't live for external rewards, live for internal growth. Only what's within your control truly matters. When you set goals you master, you're no longer a slave to outcomes. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, win at all costs, but do what's right and accept the result. Epictetus didn't urge, stand out, but keep your mind right in any circumstance. In Stoicism, goals aren't about winning, fame, wealth, or approval. They're about cultivating virtue, becoming calmer, more honest, rational, kinder, freer. These you can achieve without titles, money, or recognition. They stem from daily deliberate choices, not gifts from the world. When you chase external goals, you hand others the power to value you. Aiming for a promotion? You'll crumble if passed over. Seeking love? Rejection will sting deeply. But if your goal is to live honestly, you keep your dignity no matter who leaves. If it's to act ethically, you stand tall without applause. If it's daily progress, every external failure fuels inner growth. Setting internal goals doesn't mean abandoning effort or settling for mediocrity. It makes you unbeatable. Those tied to outcomes collapse under failure. Those driven by principles can fail repeatedly, yet stay oriented. Goals like, today I'll pause before anger, I'll work diligently without complaint, or I'll speak truthfully despite disapproval, make every day a victory. No scoreboard needed, no validation required. You're independent. Stoicism doesn't oppose ambition, but puts it in its place. It prevents blind pursuit of achievements at the cost of peace. It stops you from morphing to fit society's mold. It reminds you what comes from outside can be taken away. Fame, money, relationships, all impermanent. But wisdom, courage, temperance, justice, forged within, are yours forever. Start by rewriting your goals. Take one you're chasing, like, I want 100,000 followers. Ask, if I don't hit that but impact 100 people meaningfully, what then? If your true aim is influence, you've succeeded. But if a number defines your worth, you're letting algorithms dictate your confidence. Reframe it. I'll create deep, honest content weekly without fail. That's within your control and what leads to big numbers with persistence. Another example, instead of, I must make this person like me, set, I'll act with integrity, clarity, and honesty toward them. Their response isn't your focus. You uphold your values. If they leave, that's their choice, not your failure. If they stay, it's because you were real. Stoics aren't aimless. They pursue self-chosen goals, not externally imposed ones. They know what makes them stronger, clearer, steadier, That's the true target. When you aim at what you control, you escape life's if-then game. You don't need success to feel worthy. You can feel it now by acting in line with your beliefs. If you've chased goals unsure of their true importance, or judge yourself by external wins while ignoring inner growth, comment, "I've shifted." To explore setting freer, more meaningful goals like this video is a fresh start. Subscribe. The most worthy pursuits don't come from the world, but from within you. Number 5. Amor Fati, love your fate. In Stoic philosophy, one concept holds transformative power, reshaping how you view life. It's not just an idea, but a way of living, an approach to every event with a mindset unlike our usual reactions. It's called Amor Fati, loving your fate, not grudging acceptance or defeated endurance, but genuine love for everything that has come, is coming, and will come to you, even when it's painful, unfair, or far from what you wanted. Amor Fati doesn't mean enjoying pain or denying emotions. It teaches one key truth. If something has happened, the best you can do is make it fuel for growth. Stoics don't ask, "Why me?" They ask, "It's here, now what?" The answer is always, "I'll make it a chance to practice strength. I'll use it to test my resilience. I'll live with it, clear-eyed, not resentful or fleeing." Think of a past event that hurt, a breakup, failure, loss. At the time you wanted to escape, wished it never happened. But looking back, maybe you grew, understood yourself better, or became stronger because of it. Amor Fati is embracing that value in the moment, not years later. You tell life, "I don't know why this came, but I trust I can make it meaningful." Then you act on it. That's a proactive mindset nothing can fully break. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A stone flung into the air doesn't know why it flies, but you're human. You can turn any circumstance into virtuous action." Loving your fate refuses victimhood. You stop blaming. You don't ask, "Why me?" but answer, "Because I can handle this. Because I can make it useful." That's not self-deception, it's a repeated choice that builds resilience. Amor Fati frees you from narrow judgments. What seems bad might be what wakes you up. A departure teaches self-love. A closed door leads to a better path. A missed expectation wasn't meant for now or you. Pain comes not from events but from unmet hopes. Drop expectations, embrace reality as it is, and your mind grows lighter, steadier. You don't fight the current, you swim with it. Amor Fati doesn't mean passivity or accepting injustice. It fuels clear-headed action. By not wasting energy on complaints, you channel it into what needs doing. Instead of dwelling on what if, you focus on what now. Only by accepting reality can you shape it. Consider a betrayed friend. He could stew in hatred for years or say, "This happened. It hurts, but it woke me up. I learned about others and myself. I won't repeat this. It won't define me." Amor Fati lives in that choice. It doesn't numb you but keeps emotions from caging you. Living Amor Fati is a lifelong journey. No one masters it instantly. Practice daily. When something goes wrong, ask, "If I can't change it, can I transform it? If I can't enjoy it, what can I learn?" That's step 1. Then observe your mind, hold reason firm, act rightly, even if your heart still aches. Amor Fati doesn't demand you find everything beautiful. It asks you not to let ugliness make you bitter. You may scar, but you needn't twist. If you faced a collapse and wondered, "Why me?" but now want to meet adversity differently, comment, "I love my fate." Not because fate is kind, but because you're strong enough to make the unkind useful. If this message stirs you, like the video to hold it close, subscribe. In this journey, you're not just learning to accept what happens, but to turn every event into a stepping stone to stand firmer. Number 6, Continuously check and adjust your thinking. One of the most common mistakes modern people make is believing that once they adopt a belief or way of thinking, it's correct and needs no revisiting. They choose a perspective, an ideology, and live within its confines without asking, could I be wrong? Does yesterday's thinking fit today's reality? Is this thought helping me grow or holding me back? Stoics never assume their thinking is complete. They know no one is born with perfect reasoning. And even sound thinking won't last without regular scrutiny and adjustment. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor of immense power and wisdom, wrote nightly in his journal, reflecting on his thoughts, feelings, and actions. Not from insecurity, but to preserve clarity. He knew the human mind easily slips into habits, emotions, or external influences. A thought clear today can turn rigid, stubborn, or distorted if not refreshed. Checking your thinking isn't self-doubt, it's self-protection against blindness. Right thinking is a dynamic process, like a sail needing constant tweaking to catch the wind. Life never stands still. Each day brings new information, emotions, situations. A rigid mindset will clash with reality and shatter. But by reviewing, questioning, and adjusting, you adapt while staying true to your core. You don't overhaul everything, just refine to avoid complacent illusions. A simple yet powerful practice is to ask daily, what did I think today that wasn't accurate? Did I overreact due to a flawed thought? Did I judge someone based on old biases? Do I hold any certain beliefs without evidence? These questions don't weaken you. They make you a reflective thinker, a trait Stoics see as the hallmark of wisdom. Epictetus urged, examine your thoughts, especially those you've repeated too long. Some beliefs rooted in childhood may linger. You're not good enough. You must please others. You need success to be loved. These may no longer fit, but without scrutiny, you'll live by them as if they're truth. The tragedy is you're not living your life. You're following past programming. Checking your thinking clarifies beliefs. Ask, is this true? For whom? In what context? Does it hold now? Is there overlooked counter-evidence? Are there perspectives I haven't considered? These don't confuse you. They clean your mind, like a gardener pruning dead branches for stronger growth. Thinking needs trimming, nourishing, and regular light. A major benefit of constant adjustment is lightness. You shed the need to be right. You accept you can err. An error isn't failure, but a chance to correct. Stoics don't see changing views as weakness, but as living wisdom. Someone always right learns nothing. Someone who says, I thought this, but now I see differently, is progressing. This is vital today, amid information overload, biases, and social media noise. Without checking your thoughts, you risk borrowed thinking, shaped by others, not your values or experiences. If you don't master your mind, you can't master your actions, emotions, or life. So take time daily to ask, what did I think today? Where did it come from? Does it make me better? Does it bring peace, clarity, strength? If not, tidy up, gently without blame or judgment. Just choose again. Thinking isn't fate, it's deliberate curation. If you've held a belief for years only to find it no longer true, or adjusted your thinking and felt lighter, comment, I'm training. That's not just acknowledgement, it's commitment. If this clarifies how to steer your mind, like the video as a reminder to return. Subscribe. Clear thinking isn't a single epiphany, but a habit of daily checking and adjusting. Number 7, practice inner self-examination. Every morning in a chaotic, distracting world, where the moment you wake, you're swept into messages, notifications, deadlines, tasks, and endless to-dos, one of the simplest yet most powerful acts is pausing for a few minutes each morning to look inward. not for mystical meditation or rote gratitude lists, but to ask vital questions. What kind of person do I want to be today? What emotions am I carrying from yesterday? What thoughts are influencing me? Most crucially, what will guide me today? Stoics don't start their day chasing the world. They begin with their inner self. They know if you don't set your mind each morning, others will steer it for the rest of the day. Marcus Aurelius wrote each dawn about what he'd face: irrational people, ungrateful words, unexpected events. Not to complain, but to prepare, to avoid shock, disillusionment, or impulsive reactions. This kept his dignity intact while leading an empire through turmoil. Morning self-examination is your chance to recall who you want to become. All day you'll be pulled by others' expectations, work, news, emotional triggers, and things beyond your control. Without a clear intention from the start, you risk becoming a victim of circumstance. But 5 to 10 minutes of honest writing or reflection builds a mental foundation. You shift from reacting to choosing. Start with simple questions. What matters most to me today? How will I respond to criticism? What tends to derail me? What will I keep central when chaos hits? These aren't just mental tools, they're gatekeepers for your mind, filtering what's worth thinking about and what to let go. They keep you from living in others' heads, worrying about their opinions or fearing their judgments, and root you in your chosen principles. Epictetus said, "No one can steal your inner freedom unless you surrender it, but you can't hold that freedom without daily inspection." Morning reflection is like cleaning your glasses before viewing the world. Skip it, and you'll think the world's dirty when the blur comes from your lens. The danger of neglecting this is mistaking emotions for truth, believing anxieties, hurts, or doubts are unchangeable when they're just unexamined thoughts. This practice isn't complex, no special space needed, just a notebook or 5 quiet minutes with coffee. You don't need to write much, a few lines suffice. The goal isn't beauty or correctness, but honesty. Jot down what you feel, think, fear, then ask, is this worth carrying all day? Does it align with who I want to be? If not, leave it on the page and step into the world lighter. Don't expect a single morning to change your life. Transformation lies in steady repetition. Each morning you write, each time you pause to ask, where am I going? You reclaim control of your life's ship. You don't need all the answers, just the right questions. That alone sets you ahead of those who live without ever questioning themselves. Life will keep throwing challenges, but with a prepared mindset from the morning, you won't be swept away. A jab won't provoke you. A setback won't unravel you. A failure won't disorient you. Because you told yourself at dawn, whatever comes, I'll hold my dignity, calm, and purpose. If your days feel like an uncontrollable whirlwind, if you want to live with more direction, try 5 minutes of morning reflection. To commit, comment, I start tomorrow. That's not an empty promise. It's your first step to deeper living. If this feels practical and worth trying, like the video to remind yourself not to lose you in life's rush, subscribe. For each morning, a tool, question, or principle to live clearer, brighter, and truer to who you aim to be. Number 8, accept the uncertainty of life. Life is uncertain. This truth is so simple and obvious that everyone knows it, yet few truly embrace it. We live as if everything can be perfectly planned, as if enough preparation prevents failure, as if being good enough shields us from pain. But life shatters those expectations with unannounced events. A trusted friend betrays you, a cherished job ends abruptly, an illness arrives silently, a door closes without explanation. You feel lost, scared, angry, not just because it happened, but because you believed it shouldn't have. Stoics don't seek to eliminate uncertainty. They accept it as an inevitable part of existence. They don't delude themselves into thinking they can control the future. Instead, they prepare by mastering their responses. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Always be ready for the worst, not to live in fear, but to avoid surprise when it comes." This isn't pessimism, it's wisdom. Wisdom that knows everything in life is variable, except your character, which you can hold firm. Uncertainty breeds anxiety because it places you in the unknown, where you can't predict what's next, control timing, or foresee outcomes. It makes you feel fragile, but you don't need to fight uncertainty, you need to stand steady within it. Stoics don't require certainty to find peace. They only need to know what's right and act rightly in any circumstance. They build inner certainty to endure external unpredictability. You'll never erase life's ambiguity. You can't know if a loved one will stay, if your plans will succeed, if tomorrow you'll be healthy, or if the world will remain calm. Living for certainty is a recipe for unease, because what you rely on can vanish. Stoics choose differently. They don't lean on guarantees, but on their ability to respond. Not everything will be fine, but whatever happens, I'll keep my dignity. To embrace uncertainty, shift your questions. Instead of, how do I make things go my way? And ask, if things don't go my way, can I still live by my values? When you focus on controlling reactions rather than outcomes, you return to your true sphere of influence. Paradoxically, letting go of resistance to uncertainty makes you clearer. You don't panic at change. You decide better, untrapped by fear of loss. Consider a major life crossroads, changing careers, starting a relationship, or pursuing a path with no guaranteed success. Waiting for certainty means endless hesitation, but accepting uncertainty as part of beginnings gives you courage to move. The journey may not meet expectations, but how you live it defines you. Stoicism doesn't make you numb to risks. It teaches you to see them without being ruled by them. Plan, prepare, give your all, then release. Not because you quit, but because you know your limits. Living this way, you don't strain to control everything or predict the future. You stay present, acting rationally, accepting outcomes with resolve. Amor, Fati, loving your fate, and embracing uncertainty are inseparable companions. Knowing anything can happen lets you love what does. You don't live to dodge failure, but to grow from every possibility. Stoics don't expect a stormless life. They train to hold the helm when storms hit. Practice with small moments. When plans shift last minute, observe your frustration instead of snapping. When someone's response disappoints, breathe and realign with your intent rather than defending. Each time you choose calm over control, trust over worry, you forge stoic wisdom in real life. If you've been hurt by unmet expectations or exhausted by craving certainty, but now you're ready to stand firm in uncertainty, comment, I accept. That's not surrender, it's maturity. If this video calms you amid a dizzying world, like it to revisit when you need strength. Subscribe for daily principles to face life not with fear, but with true inner power. Number 9, practice keeping your silence. In a world where everyone rushes to speak, opine, argue, or assert their views, silence becomes a rare form of strength. Not the silence of fear, voicelessness, or indecision, but deliberate, rational, profound silence. Stoics view silence as an art of self-mastery. They don't speak when unnecessary. They don't react instantly to provocation. They don't join every debate to flex their stance. They know words are a double-edged sword. Each utterance reveals your mood, values, and inner stability. If careless, words can betray you. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, to listen more than we speak." This isn't mere communication advice, but a warning about human impulsiveness. Many troubles in relationships, work, or society stem from thoughtless words. a careless remark that wounds, an unreflective comment sparking conflict, a snap reaction you regret forever. Stoics practice silence not to escape but to avoid unwise actions. Silence isn't weakness. It's a mark of inner strength so secure it needs no verbal proof. When you're truly grounded, you don't need to win every argument, counter every jab, or voice every thought. You choose words like weapons, wielded only when essential. You see that words often don't clarify truth, they add noise. Stoics know some things don't need answering. A baseless critique, a venomous remark, a pointless debate, all can be met with silence. Not a silence that swallows anger, but one choosing worthy battles. Sometimes silence preserves your dignity, while others expose their shallowness through their own words. Practicing silence trains your mind. Choosing not to react instantly creates space between trigger and response, where clarity forms. You're not led by emotion. You observe, you weigh. You realize words often solve nothing, while quiet, consistent, principled action drives change. One well-timed silence can save a relationship. One withheld harsh word can prevent lasting harm. This doesn't mean eternal silence or coldness. Some moments demand speech. Truths must be voiced, boundaries set. But mastering timely silence sharpens your sense of when words matter. Your speech gains weight. People listen because you don't speak carelessly. You don't abuse words. You use them for clarity and reconciliation, not ego. Practice in daily life. When someone speaks unkindly, try silence over retort. When your ego urges defense, breathe and ask, is what I'm about to say necessary? Does it serve my values? Could silence better keep peace? Each deliberate silence strengthens your mind, shifting you from instinct to reason. Silence also deepens listening, not just to others, but to yourself. In quiet, you hear inner voices, fear, insecurity, wounded pride. You gain space to question yourself before reacting outwardly. In that space, wisdom grows. Stoics don't chase noise. They live like a still river, deep, strong, steady. If you've lost control with hasty words, hurt someone with rash speech, or regretted speaking out of turn, pause. Not to hide, but to master. Try a day of mindful silence, not to dodge the world, but to hear what's truly happening within and around you. If you're ready to practice purposeful silence for wiser actions, comment, I will keep silent. Not forever, but when it counts. If this video reminds you of a time you wished you'd stayed quiet, like it to resolve to act differently next time. Subscribe. Sometimes maturity lies not in what you say, but in what you choose to hold back. Number 10. Voluntary discomfort. We live in an era where comfort is equated with happiness. Every product, service, and modern lifestyle aims to make life easier, faster, more convenient. Order food without leaving bed, work from home, connect through screens, avoid unnecessary friction, eliminate discomfort with a tap. Then one day you realize you're weaker, not physically but mentally. You're more vulnerable to adversity, impatient with delays, rattled when life veers off plan. That's the inevitable cost of lingering too long in your comfort zone. Stoics are different. They deliberately step into discomfort, not because they crave suffering, but because they know resilience is forged in challenge. Strength doesn't grow in ideal conditions, but in tough ones. They call it voluntary discomfort, intentional unease. It might be waking early to train your body, unplugging your phone for a day to observe your mind, eating simply, dressing plainly, or reducing reliance on luxuries. Not for show, but to remind yourself you can thrive without what society deems essential. Seneca wrote, "Live in poverty for a few days, wear tattered clothes, eat meagerly, and ask, Is this what I feared so much? This isn't a physical test, but a mental one. If you can't live without familiar comforts, fear controls you. Stoics refuse dependence on external conditions, knowing they can shift anytime. If you're only strong when life's smooth, you're fragile. Choosing discomfort isn't self-punishment, it's thickening your mental skin. Walk instead of drive to test endurance. Skip a meal to learn hunger won't destroy you. Sleep on the floor to reconnect with your body and curb indulgence. These acts signal to yourself, I don't need constant ease to be me. I can handle hardship, stay patient, face lack without panic. The issue with modern life isn't comfort, it's mistaking comfort for happiness. People think less inconvenience equals a better life, but the opposite holds. Those who endure unease with calm are the ones who live sustainably. No one stays in control forever. Loss, failure, or unwanted situations will come. If you haven't trained resilience, you'll break. Voluntary discomfort isn't a trend or short-term challenge. It's a lifestyle for those seeking deep-rooted strength. Start small. Cut phone time, skip morning coffee, walk in the sun instead of taking a cab, spend an evening reading or in silence instead of entertainment. At first, it's uneasy, but in that unease, you hear your inner voice. You see how much you lean on trivial things. As you shed those dependencies, you feel lighter, freer. Stoics don't live to avoid pain, but to transcend it without losing themselves. Discomfort is part of that process. By living with less, you learn true happiness doesn't come from what you have, but from mastering yourself in any circumstance. When others tremble at loss, you stand firm because you've practiced. No one can steal that strength. It's not in your wallet, possessions, or praise. It's in the habits you forge daily, especially the uncomfortable ones. If you've grown soft from missing a familiar thing, lost patience waiting longer than usual, or feared change for pulling you from safety, it's time to try differently. Pick one small discomfort and do it, not to prove anything to others, but to tell yourself, ease doesn't own me. You can endure hardship and stay steady. If you're ready to try a small act to forge inner resilience, comment, I can endure. No one needs to believe you, just trust your own toughness. If this video shifts how you view discomfort, like it to commit to action, not just listening. Subscribe. True freedom comes not from having more, but needing less while standing firm. If you've made it this far, you likely don't want to live as you did before. No longer a puppet of emotions, waiting for a perfect world to feel at peace, or drowning in what you can't control. You want to be stronger, not rigid, but steadfast from within. That strength doesn't come from luck, a book, or a single epiphany. It comes from practice, daily, choice by choice, every time you act from reason instead of emotional reflex. Thinking isn't something you're born with. It's forged. You weren't taught to think rightly, but now you have the chance to learn your way. You don't need perfection to start. Just start now with one small act. Write a question each morning. Stay silent once instead of reacting. Say no to a comfortable but unnecessary habit. That's where change begins. No need to wait for another video. To keep forging a clearer mind, subscribe to the channel. Each day you'll get simple, lasting tools for transformation. If you know someone else needing to reclaim their mind, share this video. Clarity isn't exclusive. It's a gift you can spread, and it starts with you.